Hello YouTube, this is BUB'S Comics coming at you with a quick comic haul. I've got quite a few books to show you actually, so who knows how quick it'll really be. But let's get to it. First off, I want to show you the background here. This is a new book I just picked up, which is Hulk number 4. And the reason that I picked that up is because it goes obviously hand in hand with the other Hulk number 4. So one of them I suppose is a variant and one isn't. I don't remember which one's which. But I had this one first and I took it to a con this recently and got it signed by Ed McGuinness. So it says to BUB'S Comics, Ed McGuinness. And so I didn't have the other half. So they have some frames at the dollar store, like literally for $1, that are clear. I think they're glass. They're like plexiglass, you know, with a black outside edge, and you can they fit 2 comics, and then I cut down a treasury size backing board to go behind them, so it has a white border. So basically, when this is done, it'll look just like this. And I put the 2 comics beside each other, and then I put them inside there, and then I hang them up. So that's what I do for some of my connecting covers. For $1, this thing's going to get framed, and I'll probably take it to work because it's the kind of, I like having those framed up in the office at work. So there you go, Hulk number 4. Next we have Uncanny X-Men number 140. Really jazzed about that because I'm looking to finish that storyline. So I'm excited to have, I just read 139 not too long ago where Wolverine dons his brown and gold suit for the first time. So this is actually the first cover appearance of the brown and gold, or whatever that is, red and yellow, I don't know what it is, whatever this suit is. That's the first cover appearance of that suit. Of course, he's battling the Wendigo, so gotta love that. Next, we have another variant. So here is Wolverine Weapon X number 1 variant edition. I think that's an Adam Kubert. Yep, it is Adam Kubert. Art there, looking pretty good, and is in full Weapon X gear. So really happy to have that. So the quick story behind this one is that I was looking at an auction where this book was going. I thought maybe I could get it. It was a 9.8. It was CGC 9.8. It was absolutely beautiful. I tend to like my CGC Universal Grade blue to be with blue books that have a little bit of blue tone to them. So I think it kind of matches well. And so this book, I just couldn't stop staring at it. I put a couple of bids in, got outbid, and it sold for like almost $100. And I was like, man, that's really high. It was like $80. I was like, man, that's way too high for that book. It's nothing significant about it, just a cool cover. And it looked really good in the slab. So then I looked for it, and I found this book for $1.80. So, you know, and it's not a 9.8, but I'd say it's probably about an 8.5. Good enough for me. Looks pretty good, and I wanted to have that art. So I may get it slab, but I'll probably just leave it like it is. Next, we're going in the Wayback Machine. We're going to the Outer Limits, Adele 12 Center. So I don't know if you all remember this, but do not adjust your television set. We are in control. It's the Outer Limits. So I remember watching that as a kid. Pretty cool show. It's kind of like a Twilight Zone type of show, but it was really had quite different stories. It was much more of a sci-fi twist to the stories, whereas the Outer Limit, I guess Twilight Zone was sci-fi too, but it was a little bit more of, to me, mystery theater, and more storytelling was involved in the Twilight Zone. And yes, odd things occurred, but you didn't really know what was causing it. This was more straight sci-fi, the Outer Limits was, and just great stuff. So if any of you fans of the Outer Limits, any of you older fellas out there, fans of the Outer Limits show, this one's for you. And it says mutations, giants, monsters from another planet. What will stop their invasion? Apparently a freeze gun will stop the invasion of these monkey men. So, and I flipped through it. It's a pretty cool story, actually. It's got a couple of different parts to it, and it kind of builds on itself. So, pretty neat there. Next, I'm going to show you a quick run of some books you may never have seen. I'm going to try and do it justice, but it's going to be tough in the way that I currently have them set up. But in any case, here is Star Slayer number 2. So you say, that's a book I've never seen before, nor do I ever want to see again. And that may be. This was Mike Grell's little pet project. PC for the new era in comics. They didn't know it was going to mean political correctness someday or personal computer, but at this time it was just PC. And it's Star Slayer number 2. This was Mike Grell's little pet project. But what's really cool about it, and I'll open it up real quick for you. I'll only do this one like this, maybe the next one, is that this is actually the first appearance of the Rocketeer. And if you see on the back cover, it's got the full Dave Stevens treatment, who I think is one of the most underrated artists of his time, and maybe even still. It says, starting this issue, careening through the sky, and out of these pages comes The Rocketeer by Dave Stevens. So pretty cool art there, and of course it starts with the first appearance of the Rocketeer. So there's the end of the Star Slayer story, and there's his last page of the Star Slayer, and there is the Rocketeer. So that is the first image of the Rocketeer. It's the first appearance of the Rocketeer, and it's in Star Slayer 2. So what's funny about this Rocketeer story is that it actually spans like 8 different, we'll put this in backwards so you can enjoy that. It actually spans like 8 different titles. Or not titles, but 8 different comics. And it goes across, I think, 3 or 4 different titles. So it's like each title held them for only like 2 stories, and they moved it. So really, really unique way of getting a first story out there. I'm sure you all are familiar with the Disney Rocketeer movie. And actually, a little fun fact, I think Dave Stevens was like a co-producer of that movie. So the movie follows pretty closely along his original storyline for his first adventure. And then, of course, to follow that up, we have Star Slayer number 3. So Star Slayer number 3, this would be the second appearance of the Rocketeer, but it's chapter 2 in the ongoing story of the Rocketeer. So, and I know a lot of people may not be big Rocketeer fans, but too bad. You tuned in. This is what you get. I like the Rocketeer. I think it was pretty cool, and I like Dave Stevens' art, and I like to collect more of it. So there's some more great Dave Stevens art. Look at that. Looking pretty good. So there's second appearance of the Rocketeer. Later on, the Rocketeer ends up having adventures with various, known Hollywood starlets and things of that nature, and had a pretty long going thing with Betty Page. And I think it's IDW. They went through some crossovers with the two. So pretty cool. And there's a couple of sought-after covers in that run as well. So the next we have the third appearance of the Rocketeer, and that is Pacific Presents The Rocketeer number 1. So Pacific Presents number 1, it was a split story between Dave Stevens' The Rocketeer and Steve Ditko's The Missing Man. So that's pretty cool. So you get a little double action on that one. This is the money book. So when people go to get, or had gone to get Dave Stevens' autograph, this is the book that you typically see autographed because it's the first front cover appearance of the Rocketeer. It's the first front cover to say the Rocketeer in this fashion. So this is the money book, which is funny because it really isn't. All these books you can pick up for just a couple of bucks each. I don't think you're going to find, there's not a huge print run of these things. I don't think you're going to find them just anywhere. But if you're looking to buy them, don't pay too much. You can definitely get them fairly inexpensive. So anyway, this is one of those books that I think it's odd that his first appearance is actually here, and yet that book gets no love. It gets no love at all. And this is the book that gets love, the chapter 3 of the Rocketeer. And it's all because of the cover. And it also has some great back cover art too of the Rocketeer. And then here we have Pacific Presents number 2, which is be the fourth appearance of the Rocketeer. So here we have the first 4 chapters of the first Rocketeer storyline, which is basically what the movie more or less follows. And then it says, plus the Missing Man. So Steve Ditko's Missing Man kind of got downgraded, and it's mostly Rocketeer, and that was from Pacific Presents. So made by Pacific Comics. So, and these are fairly newer books. I mean, they're not that old. In fact, the movie came out not too long after these books came out. So that's pretty cool. And to round off the Rocketeer, here is the Rocketeer official movie adaptation. And what's really amazing about this book, first of all, fantastic Dave Stevens art. I mean, if that doesn't do it for you, I don't know. You check your pulse, man. This is hot right here. Look at that. That is tough. Look at that flag flapping in the wind. I like a good wind flapper every now and then, don't you? That's 1991 Dave Stevens art. I wish I could get a perfect copy of it just because it has a lot of that black along the side. So there's a lot of little spine ticks and things there. It's a very thick book, too, because it represents, as most of these movie adaptations tend to be, fairly thick. So I'm taking this one out only because many times, especially like this, so you had The Rocketeer by Dave Stevens, right? So you would assume, and all the Rocketeer stories that are in the original first 8, pieces or whatever, first 8 chapters, are all drawn by Dave Stevens' interior art. But this is really special to me because it has Dave Stevens' cover and Russ Heath art. And it is amazing. You guys need to be picking this up. It's fully illustrated by Russ Heath. Looks awesome. I mean, every panel is just jumping out at you. It's got great, great art. Look at that. That's amazing. I don't know. You would think that they would have wanted to have Dave Stevens do the interior art on the book, but, he's already done a lot of this. So, look at that. Just perfect, man. Did a great job. Russ Heath. I got to give it up. So this book is a sleeper hit to me. You got Dave Stevens art in the cover, which I'd like to collect more of that. And you got Russ Heath interior. Are you kidding me? That's fantastic. What a combination. So there you go. The Rocketeer, the official movie adaptation. I picked that up for less than $2. Y'all need to go get yours. All right, switch gears a little bit. And we have Star Trek Boldly Go, number 16. That's going to go for my Funko display. So I'm going to be collecting as Captain Kirk, Funko Captain Kirk. So I'm going to be picking up a couple more of these. There's a couple more that I have on my radar. And then I'm going to be making a display behind my Funkos, which I take out of the box. I don't think I currently have any still in the box. So I take them out and I display them. And there's a little shelf that I put them on. And there's a wall behind it. So all these are going to get pinned to the wall behind it in some fashion or another. And here's another one. Champions number 1. Variant edition with Cyclops, of course. Using his optic blast all over the place. Pretty cool. Here's a book that sometimes has a little bit of heat to it. There's only a couple of What If books that I think are worth a whole lot. And this is one of them. So this is What If Wolverine Had Killed the Hulk. This is a book sometimes you see go for $25. If it's in real good condition and slabbed, this thing can go for like $65, $70. I don't get it. It's cool. I wanted it, and I'm happy to have it. So, I mean, I'm not knocking the book. I wanted this book. I just didn't want to pay that much for it. Sometimes I get something stuck in my head. I don't want to pay a certain amount more than I think it's worth. So, but anyway, this book, I'm happy to have it. I think it's super cool. And really, if you're a big Wolverine fan, and you're already a Wolverine fan, and then you go back like I did and read 179, 180, 181, 182, and then you're like, oh man, Wolverine got his butt kicked, and he really does. So this is like a great kind of comeback to that storyline. So anyway, pretty cool book. I picked it up for like less than $5. Stole it as far as I'm concerned, because these days this one and the What If symbiote Spider-Man and a couple others, What If Jane Foster picked up Thor's hammer. There's a couple of other ones that are also in this vein. So not too many of those What If books are big books. But this one seems to pick up quite a bit of heat, and it hasn't really dropped off. It just kind of steadily rises $1 like every couple months. So next we have something of a key book. If you're like me, you like Aliens and you like Predator. And this is the first appearance of the Aliens versus Predator. Dark Horse Comics presents, so Dark Horse presents number 36. And to top it off, you've got a cover appearance by the Aliens versus the Predator. And it even says here, Aliens versus Predator. Look, it just keeps getting better. So that's pretty cool. You can't deny that Aliens and Predator, even no matter how many movies they put out to screw it up, it's still a cool battle. Speaking of battles, this will be our last comic for the day. This one, it's an old Charleston book. It's a 10-center. It's Gorgo, Monster Against Spaceship. Gorgo number... what number is this? I want to say it's like 4. I don't see the number on there, but there is a number to it. I don't see it. But anyway, Gorgo, November issue, if you will. And that is another great Steve Ditko cover. So pretty cool. He didn't do the interior, but he does the cover art and looks pretty badass. You know, I like spaceships, I like robots, I like dinosaurs. I guess, you know, because I haven't really grown up from some of those early childhood gravitational pulls. So I'm still based on it. And it says based on a King Brothers picture. So it was clearly some kind of Godzilla knockoff. So, you know, but it got a comic book. I think there's not many of these, 12 or so in this run. So I may try and go ahead and collect them all. And this Ditko cover just looks badass, man. I just love it. So it's approved by the Comics Code. So pretty cool. I like this book. You know, it is what it is. It's in the Mylar, so you know I like it. So there you go. Gorgo, Monster Against Spaceship. So there you have it, y'all. That's my quick haul. A couple of firsts, a couple of keys. This haul was filled with a lot of keys that you may not be aware of. So, and there you go. I'll leave you with The Rocketeer by Dave Stevens. This is a back cover appearance of his first appearance in Star Slayer number 2. So I hope y'all enjoyed that. If you did, give it a thumbs up. If you don't, give it a thumbs down. Just, you know, share it or whatever, and subscribe if you're not subscribed, and all that good stuff. And catch us on the No Faces Monday Night Chat. This week, our guest will be Faceless. So I look forward to that as much as I do. So I appreciate you all, and thanks for all the subs. I've been picking up several subs lately, just like 10 in the last week. So usually that means that somebody gave some kind of shout out that I'm not aware of, a video that I missed, and there's been a shout out or someone has mentioned me. So I want to thank whoever that was. If you're listening, and let me know, you know, put down in the comment section if you were the one that said something, because you can't watch them all, as you all know. There's so much great comic content out there on YouTube. You just can't watch it all. So it's a shame, but there's only so many hours in a day. All right, y'all. Well, I thank you very much, and this is BUB'S Comics signing out. I'm telling you to read a comic, and if you get a chance, read this comic. It's got a great story. Thanks. Bye.